Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back. Welcome back to another episode of Solid Drives. Now the KTM final is upon us, and just so you know, I am making this video slightly in advance, okay? So the packs aren't out in the store yet, but by the time you watch this video, those titanium packs, those platinum packs, and those super carbon fibers should be out in the store for that KTM final coming up. Now, it's no surprise to any player, I would say. If it is a surprise to you, then I guess you've not been playing the game for the last 2 weeks. Which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I was just in that situation, so if you were in that situation, you're not alone. But anyway, it really feels like every time I record a video now I have to mention that I was gone for 2 weeks. I'll stop doing that, okay? But anyway, final requirements. It's going to be 2014 to 2024 Hyundai and Peugeot. It seems that, you know, in recent times, Hutch has been doubling down on Peugeot a lot, which honestly, I don't mind. Because there was a time where they would focus on Audi, and it was really annoying because back then the Audis were all overrated. Now, a lot less of them are overrated with the car correction changes, so I would say that Audis are not as offensive to collect anymore. But yeah, now they're going a lot on Peugeot. I think we've seen a lot of Peugeot recently this year, late last year, whenever the last European update came around, and I don't mind it because Peugeot fields some pretty damn good cars to unpack and to use around. Obviously, they complement the brand new update coming in, Asia Pacific Revival. They're also throwing some Hyundais in there as well, and so we see a conglomeration of both these brands. As always, guys, from this pack review, it is my personal opinion, so if you have any, I guess, thoughts that might contrast with mine, feel free to comment down below. But as always, this is my personal opinion. As always, guys, the way I'm ranking it, these are the ranks. We've got the Kaiser, which are cars that are just fantastic to use in all kinds of scenarios. We've got the versatile cars that require some criteria, so they may not shine often, but they will have its time one day. Requires a special tag challenge in a sense where they will never shine in the main game, and you know, Hutch will need to force it down your throat for it to be useful. And last but not least, of course, the classic other way of describing hot garbage, Robin's Wonders World of plus and minus 3RQ, cars that are completely out of their depth and shouldn't be in the rarity or shouldn't have the RQ that they have. So starting this off is the Hyundai Palisade. That is definitely Robin's Wonders World of plus or minus 3RQ. This thing screams RQ 48, 49. It doesn't handle, max it out, 79 handling. There are already a decent amount of all-surface tire super rares, some Korean, some just Asian, Japanese, and all that, that can already surpass AT handling, and this can't do that. So that car is definitely way out of its depth. I don't think it should be an ultra rare. It's not going to do well. Definitely one of the worst cars that you could get. And I want to talk about the Santa Fe as well. Those two, terrible. So bad. I mean, the only thing about this Santa Fe that it reminds me of like The Walking Dead. But the Santa Fe that was in The Walking Dead was like the older version. I was like, it was like the 2009 model or whatever it was. This is the newer one, but it looks similar. So it reminds me of that older one from The Walking Dead as well. Anyway, I digress. Like, these two cars are useless. But if Hutch were to bring back silver screen, which I think they should, because, you know, the boss stuff is getting really monotonous, they could, you know, consider bringing in the older Santa Fe's as an homage to The Walking Dead. Anyway, moving on, Hyundai Genesis Coupe, I would say requires a special tag challenge. Not the worst thing in the world. You know, it has 91 handling or 90 handling when you max it out, somewhere along those lines. And there are some small scenarios, mainly Korean events, where you could probably utilize the Genesis as an RQ bargain, as a saver. It should just have enough stats to beat like super rare Korean cars, unless you're thinking of the Hyundai Leffe Rouge. I don't know this and Leffe Rouge 1v1 who wins. The Leffe Rouge is just a really wonderful car, and you know, I don't want to underestimate it in any circumstance. Anyway, moving on is the Peugeot 208 GTI by Peugeot Sport. Medium ground clearance and 93 handling. Not the worst thing in the world. Again, I will only be using it if I needed a bargain, but I don't think it's a special tag challenge kind of car. I think it requires some criteria. It's not going to shine too much, but honestly, not that bad. 93 handling, RQ51, and medium ground clearance. Okay, I see some use in that. And the Hyundai Veloster is another one. I'm also going to put that and requires some criteria. I don't think it's a good off-roader, but it's the only South Korean, well, Korean, I guess, because, you know, North Korea's not in the game anyway, but it's the only South Korean off-roader ultra rare in the game. So it kind of has that power vacuum. And also at the same time, I tend to use this car a lot in front wheel drive events that requires high ground clearance. There are a lot of front wheel drive cars with off-road tires, but not a lot of them have high ground clearance. The Hyundai Veloster does. So it's a very situational car. You need to know where to use it. You're not going to be using it too often, but I think it requires some criteria. Moving on is the Hyundai Sonata N-Line. Now this car is brand stinking new. It came in the brand new update. I don't think it looks... on paper, it doesn't look like the greatest car. 85 handling only. When you think about front-wheel drive cars, they tend to handle very well. For example, the Peugeot 208. And I believe that, you know, if I'm going to review this car like 2 months from now, 3 months from now, I'm definitely going to bring it down. But because it has that bias that it's a brand new car, and there are probably going to be challenges surrounding these newer cars from Asia Pacific Revival, I'm going to put it in require some criteria, because I feel like, you know, if you get this car early, you can probably use it for a couple of challenges that are coming. You could probably use it in the tune-up challenge as well. So there is some use for it just because it's brand stinking new, but give it a couple months, I'm gonna drop it down. Hyundai i30. I mean, I'll talk about both the i30s at the same time. I think they're both pretty decent cars. Not you. I think they're both pretty decent cars, and I'll put them both in require some criteria. The best of the three, though, in my opinion, is the Veloster N, and I'm going to put that versatile. An easy way to tell that that's one of the best ones is if you were to look at the best ultra rares that you can use in the final. Not that an ultra rare will win you anything, but the best ultra rares that you can use for the twisty track sets, it's most likely going to be that Veloster N. So it has its value, especially in, once again, South Korean events. But then again, take that with a punch of salt, because when do you ever see South Korean events in top drives? Like, never, honestly. Moving on, Peugeot 308 GTI. This car was like a sleeper back in the day because it had like some MRA, and you know, I knew some people, like some players that I've encountered, that they actually go drag spec on that. But remember, this is a really old Peugeot. This came in the first wave of Peugeot when they didn't have a lot of cars, so you could get creative with what you had. Now Peugeot is a lot more variation, and I think that the 308 GTI has kind of faltered in the test of time. You know what I mean? So I think it requires a special tag challenge now. Moving on is the Hyundai Santa Fe. Again, it's just, yeah, overrated. All these, most of these all-surface tire cars, they're still very useless. Very, very useless. The Peugeot Instinct is great, though. I'm going to give that versatile. Something about the really saturated blue cars from this pack that are doing pretty well. It's good. I would say that it's definitely pretty good. 91 handling, four-wheel drive, low ground clearance. It actually even beats the Epic counterpart, the Exalt or whatever it is. These two cars, I wouldn't say that it beats. I wouldn't say the Instinct beats the Excite or whatever it's called. Exalt. It's an L. I can't read. The text is too small. It beats it in some scenarios. They trade blows. And it's like 56 versus 61. I get it, though. This is medium ground clearance, okay? Still a little bit overrated, though. I mean, it's already moved down from Epic. It's not an Epic anymore. You know, it doesn't have better on paper stats than the Instinct, though, and the only reason why it's like, what, 5 RQ higher is because it's medium ground clearance. They're both four-wheel drive, so you can't really say, oh, four-wheel drive inflation or anything like that. Yeah, this one's going down to require some criteria, and the Instinct stays above, mainly because they trade blows and the Instinct is so much easier to use. Just don't use an Instinct on a medium ground clearance track and you'll be fine. You know, if you're talking about these two cars being, you know, compared apples to apples. Now, moving on, the Hyundai Grandeur, again, much like the Sonata, it's only becoming requires some criteria because it is a new car. There are not a lot of new ultra rares in this update, and they might be useful. There are only 5 that you can unpack, and these are 2 of the 5. So, you know, you might be forced to use them very soon. So I'm going to put them in require some criteria, but, you know, give it a couple months, and these 2 cars are probably going to go down. The Hyundai Santa Cruz is up next. I'm going to put that in requires a special tag challenge. It handles a little bit better, so I value it a little bit more. Hyundai Kona is up next. Requires some criteria. Both the Konas, honestly. Both the Konas are not bad. They're not bad. When it comes to, like, I guess, a standard tire South Korean cars, then the Kona 1.6 turbo, you know, for ultra rares, not bad at all. That being said, you just don't, again, the main thing here, the main thing to address, the main elephant in the room is that you don't really see South Korean events that often. So, you know, how highly are we going to rate this car? Look at that. This is just a coincidence, but blue. Okay, I mean this is blue too and that's blue too, but I'm you know, they kind of look like they're the same shade almost. I mean they're not, but they're similar. Now moving on, I'll leave it here for now though. First of all, just because it's one of the better ultra rare South Korean center tire cars. Peugeot 208 Rally 4 is up next. I think it's okay. It requires some criteria. I might bump it up. Oh, I don't know. I don't really use that all that often anymore. I'll be honest. I'll put it there for now. The Santa Cruz 74, where did I put you? Maybe requires special tag. And the Hyundai Conan. Hyundai Conan's great. MRI is pretty decent. It's like high or medium ground clearance. One of those like front wheel drive dragsters that I would like to use if I can't use like the Mini or the Auto Delta. Like the Kona is pretty decent, and I think it also is it classified as an SUV? It might be classified as an, I can't remember for certain, but if it is classified as an SUV, it also has that special niche of being a performance tire SUV. There are not many of those to go around. This can be used in a drag scenario, maybe to lose by a couple of points against a way better car, or even win some matches. And I personally, from my own experience, have gotten a lot of use out of my Kona N, so I'm going to put that in versatile. I don't think it's the greatest car in the world, but I think it's pretty good. Vision G Coupe. This is pretty interesting. I'm going to say requires some criteria. And honestly, my drag spec version of the Vision G brings me more value than the 233 version. And I feel like most people went 233 with this, and I get that. But the drag spec, why the drag spec version of the Vision G is so important is because when it comes to South Korean ultra rares in particular, or even when you compare it to some epics, this is a great car for the test bowl in the 1 mile, mainly because not a lot of South Korean cars can get a top speed of 180 miles per hour, but the Vision G can. So again, very situational. You got to know where to use it. I do think that my drag spec version of the Vision G is pretty useful in the right scenarios. I'm going to give it requires some criteria because of that super high top speed. The Genesis 5.0 though, I mean, it's just like every other saloon, requires special tag challenge. Elantra N is a pretty decent ultra as well. I'm going to put it up there in the versatile category. MRA is decent, handling is good, and we need to remember that it is also a medium ground clearance car with an okay 0 to 60. So I'm going to put that in versatile. All right, moving on to the epics now. We start off with both Peugeots, the 508s. They used to be RQ 72 and 69, I think, or 71 and 69 back in the day. They've both been bumped down to 65 because a lot of the four-wheel drives got shafted. Now, do I think that the Peugeot 508 should be ultra rare? I don't think so. I think that they're okay as 65s. I'm actually kind of surprised that they're both 65s. I think this one should be a 66. This could be a 6. That could stay as a 65. I don't think they're terrible cars, and I'm going to put them in require some criteria. So I'm going to just put them right there. I don't think they're offensive cars, you know. I really don't. They're not great, especially now that they're Jerry's or RQ65s. No one's gonna want to max an RQ65, but for what they are, they're okay. They're okay. I think that if they were an ultra, a 64, they might be a little bit too good. So yeah, I think they're okay where they're at. Moving on is the 508 Sport Engineered. Again, I'm just gonna put it in the same tier because they're all just about the same in my eyes. The 3008, I'm gonna put that in Robin's Wonders World of Plus and Minus 3 RQ. We got the Paso Cordo that's up next, requires a special tag challenge. I remember when they get, okay, I can't remember what the specific event was. I think it was APGP Trials. They gave this car out to everybody. It was quote unquote free. If you managed to get to a certain level, everybody got the Paso Cordo. And I still have it, and I've unpacked it from ceramic packs as well. It's completely useless. They have been eligible for multiple tri-series since the release of this car, but they've never made an impact, ever. I still have one. It's still stock. It's pretty bad. I mean, like, it's not bad. You know, if you max it out, it's a decent 69. But why would you do that when there are better options, right? So, special tag challenge. Peugeot Quartz is up next. I think some people might disagree with me, but I think it's a special tag challenge kind of car. I maxed mine out for the Porsche 935 Icon variant challenge to pass 2 levels. And that was it. I've never used it again. So yeah, special tag challenge. Hyundai Veloster NTCR is up. I think it's alright. I think it's like requires some criteria. Again, some people might be like, how? It's 92 handling. Dude, look, back in the day, a front wheel drive slick tire car with like, you know, over 100 handling when you max it out was like the shit. Like, you know, there wasn't a lot to go around. It used to be just like the Laguna, right? The BTCC. But now with every single update, it feels like they're bringing 1 or 2 front-wheel drive cars that get over 100 handling that you can unpack, and it's just like they're becoming a dime a dozen now. So I gotta be a little bit more cutthroat with how I rate the cars, and I'm gonna give that a kind of average rank. The 208 T16 R5, versatile. I would say it's versatile. It's still a great bargain for 71 RQ, 100 handling. It's lightweight, low 0 to 60. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, once again, new cars. Look, for the new cars, I'm just gonna put them in require some criteria, because I just feel like we're gonna use all of them at one point. The E-Legend, versatile in my opinion. The Envision 74, also versatile. Both good cars, but they are obviously shy of their Kaiser. This is crazy. Not a single car is worthy of the highest tier in my opinion so far. The Envision 74, I would have put into Kaiser if it still had, like, you know, 98 MRA. It used to have that MRA when it was first introduced into top drives. It's been nerfed since. I think it has like 80 MRA now, so unfortunately not the dragster killer it used to be, but it's also very low 0 to 60, handles well. Just a little bit of a hybrid car, jack of all trades, master of none. It will be a pretty good epic in the final, for sure. Very good looking car, my thumbnail car of choice. Still pretty good, but not the best. 308R hybrid went down from legend to epic, and rightly so. This thing was pretty terrible. I mean, when I look at this, it just looks like a French Audi. Requires some criteria just because it's a higher range epic. Ioniq 577 as well requires some criteria. The other black Hyundai, I don't know what the model trim are, what the model name is, because I couldn't give a damn about electric cars and their names. But that black RQ79 Hyundai is just better in every way compared to the Ioniq 5. I think that's an Ioniq 7 maybe, I don't know. Hyundai RN30. See, here's the thing, right? You put it side by side with the Peugeot 208. Yeah, I get the Hyundai is a little slightly better MRA, but you know they got the same handling, and you're telling me that the Hyundai is like what, like 7 RQ more, and it doesn't even have the same 0 to 60. I can't see the value in it. It used to be a legend, it's now an epic, and I don't even think that is even that good of an epic. Requires some criteria. And the Moab is up next, mother of all bombs. What a, you know, it's got a Dirk Kaiser name, that's for sure. But I think at most it's just a versatile car. And the only reason why it's versatile is because most of its competition that was better than this has all gone up to legendary anyway, like the race truck ZR2, for example. So because of that, yeah, Moab versatile. Handling could be better though. 80 handling maxed out for an RQ79 is still piss poor in my opinion. Yeah, I'm actually gonna bump it down. I don't know. I feel like it's there with the Veloster Grappler in the sense where, you know, it's got that off-road South Korean meta on lock, but the moment you open the floodgates and you put it up against other countries, it's just not gonna shine that much. But then I think something about the seat count about this car makes it a little bit of an outlier. I can't remember, but I used the car kind of. I kind of want to put it in versatile just based off personal experience. I do use it. It's not the best, but it fits in things. I know it's not the best description of it. If you want to put it in a lower rank in your head, I completely get that. Oh, there it is, the Ioniq 6, the black one. It actually is in the pack. Yeah, that's their Kaiser. Yeah, so this is the one I was talking about. That thing is just fantastic. I don't know much about this car. It looks okay. How does it compare against the other? Yeah, 4978, 4877. If I rank this car medium, I'll rank this car slightly above that because it handles better. Also, it has the same stats as the Ioniq 6. I just don't have a lot of information on this car. Is it better than the Ioniq 6? The Ioniq 6, a lot of us know, is wonderful. And if this car is able to beat the Ioniq 6, I don't know. It's a brand new car. There are not a lot of times for it yet, and I don't think it's right of me to put it in such a high tier without knowing so little about the car. So I'm gonna put it in versatile. But if you know more about it, let me know down in the comments below. All right, legends. Veloster N ETCR. Yeah, that's honest. Now you know what, special tag challenge. It's a garbage legend. But the rest of them are great. So I'm gonna put this in Dirk Kaiser, and I'm gonna put this one in Dirk Kaiser. I'm gonna put this off-roader in Dirk Kaiser. And I'm going to put the L500R in Dirk Kaiser. So there's all the Dirk Kaiser legendaries. They're all really awesome. Low 0 to 60 is great handling, blah, 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 blah. The i20 RS is just a slightly worse version of this one. So I'm going to put that in versatile. And then we've got the Peugeot Inception, which I'm genuinely going to put in require some criteria. The handling on the thing sucks. The MRA is good-ish, 91 MRA, but the top speed is just like 155, bro, this thing will lose, most likely, it will lose to a Hyundai Vision G Coupe on a test bowl. That's sad. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. By the time you watch this video, the pack should be out in store, and I will contemplate maybe opening one or two. It's a very high risk, high reward pack. If you get a legend, you got a pretty high chance of scoring something cool, you know? And these two are definitely very cool, the Ionics. It's just really down to if you want to take the gamble or not. I mean, that's what Top Drives is, right? Like, it's basically just a gamble for every pack. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. It's definitely not the most offensive Tri-Series final requirement that we've seen. I've seen a lot worse. This is not too bad. This is pretty average, I would say. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville.